Got that.
What if we Productions
to
V?
make
Oh! Oh my god.
Okay, so you're probably a bit confused. What is an object show creator doing making a video about Dandy's World? But don't worry, I have a Venn diagram right here to explain. Alright, so here's the OSC, and here's the Dandy's... Wait. I think I grabbed the wrong diagram. So, yeah, I'm Fosler, I make object shows primarily, and you wouldn't know this based off of my content, but I play Dandy's World. Like, a lot. And while I admit both the game and its community has flaws, as all things do, there is one character that has been the main reason I continue to play this game, and probably become one of my favorite characters in fiction. And I can promise I'm not overstating when I say that. And in case you couldn't tell by the video title or thumbnail, it's V. This character has had a chokehold on me for a little over a year now, and I just need to talk about her before I regret it in my hospital bed 80 years down the line. V is the host of an in-universe game show, which is very popular based on how much other toons talk about it, and also because she got an entire floor based on it. Like, look at how cool this is. V is what the game labels as a main character, which means she not only has more unique abilities than non-mains, like being able to highlight every twisted or having the two closest machines always highlighted for her, but it also means she has more of a character than other toons, and if I'm gonna be honest, probably the best written character in this game, which probably isn't surprising considering how she is a fan favorite. But stick with me here. The fandom, as is par for the course with any online fandom, often mischaracterizes her and boils her down to just being mean, which is not true in the slightest if you've actually read through her interactions and placed in the game's story. If you really want to get into the grit about who V is, we need to look at every single piece of official V content there is. Well, in-game at least. So here's the plan. We're going to take a look at every single V interaction V can have with any other toons, analyze them, and then we're going to take any other miscellaneous things like her floor, posters, twisted, and any other miscellaneous dialogue. And from all that, we're going to come up with a more cohesive description of V's personality. And know what? Why not? Just to get more from a little, as we look at each interaction, I'm going to be adding each toon to this relations chart, so we can see how V sees every other toon as well. The tiers are as followed. The V, the myth, the legend, which is for V herself. Best friend, well, for V's best friends obviously. Like, for anybody V can hang with. Neutral, for when V doesn't really care for them. Slight dislike, for when the toon is slightly annoying in V's eyes or there's just something about them. The dislike tier, for when there's somebody V outright dislikes. And finally, there's the rivalry tier, for anyone V has a full-out rivalry with.
no interaction.
Because despite being a main, there's still a few people that she just doesn't talk to for some reason. Anyways, now that we've laid out all the groundwork, let's actually start. Hey Astro, if anyone gives you issues, come to me, alright? Or if you need a machine done faster. Alright, V. Or if a twisted tries anything. V, I get it, thank you. We're probably starting with one of the interactions that contradicts what most people think about when they think of V. Because, you see that, she very obviously cares about Astro and is willing to put herself out there in order to protect him. V, how's your mic cord? Need any untangling? You need to start worrying about yourself more. Well, is it tangled? I'll give it a look after we finish here. Okay, thanks Astro. This interaction gives us a big baseline for how V will act. She doesn't know how to respond to kindness and tries to deflect it at first, before begrudgingly accepting it and letting Astro help her. After both of these interactions, I think it's pretty safe to say Astro lands a spot in best friend tier. V, do you have any trivia on flowers? I have trivia on nearly every topic, Bassie. Wow, you're really talented. Really, really talented. Thanks, that's pretty nice to hear. I hope I can be as talented as you, V. Sure, Bassie, sure. This interaction is reaffirming how V doesn't really know how to accept kindness, sort of deflecting it at the end, and like awkwardly accepting it from Bassie. This is also the first case of how V's self-worth is illustrated to be dependent on how others perceive her, as she does actually revel in the comment about herself being talented from Bassie. However, I don't think this interaction would make V like Bassie, considering that last line, where she kind of just brushes her off. So I'm going to put Bassie up in neutral tier. For the sake of clarity, I will be reading Blot's lines as if they are spoken normally. Blot, you're sure you'd rather keep performing with the circus crew? Always will. Well, if you ever change your mind. I won't. Louie and Yada will always need me. Fine, fine. You do what you like, of course. This interaction seems as if it is an attempt to become Blot's friend, even though it comes off as V is just trying to get something out of Blot. I feel like that's not all that's happening here. V, do you have your translator on? Yeah, I do. What was it you wanted to say, Blot? About your show. Did you think there was room for one of our circus acts? And setting the translator program off slowly. V, come on. V, ugh. V is using her translator here, which is why she's one of, if not the only one in Guarded View who can understand Blot. However, this does actually bring something else up. V is comfortable taking advantage of her technology, despite it also being part cause of her insecurities, which we will touch upon more later. However, I think it's safe to say that Blot lands a spot in like tier. I could go for some cookies and hot cocoa. You could talk with Tegan about that. Oh yeah, would you want to join if I asked her? Oh, right. You don't really drink or eat. Blunt helpfulness here. Doesn't go beyond that. Interaction just puts Bobette into the neutral tier. Not much happened. I can't believe I'm in the same elevator as the V. You're a fan of the game show, Boxten? Who isn't? You've got such fun questions. I love trivia. Who doesn't? Is that one of your trivia questions? No. When V is in her element, which is the game show we're talking about it, she is very confident in herself, which makes the mask easier to uphold. I'll talk more about the mask later. Anyways, Boxten's going in like tier. Brightney! Lovely to know I have someone truly talented with me. Wait, like I'm truly talented as opposed to untruly talented? Yeah? Yeah, alright. Good talk. This interaction hits like a truck. Brightney's line about being, quote, untruly talented hits V close to home. Even if in the interaction nothing is shown explicitly, V is insecure about herself and not being good enough. V puts on a mask as a game show host, which bleeds into other aspects of her life. Like this, where she acts more confident and good at a lot of things that she thinks she actually is, which is why untruly talented hits her like a truck, as she doesn't think she's good enough internally. So, got any plans after this? Not exactly, but I could put something together if you're interested. Would you really? For me? Of course. You're my best contestant after all. V obviously cares for Brightney, but she doesn't want to show it, and she just veils it as because Brightney is her, quote, best contestant. And I think V actually does see Brightney as a friend, but just doesn't obviously show it. Well, not nearly to the same level as Astro. However, I don't really think there's anywhere else to put Brightney, so I'm going to put her in best friend tier, because this type of connection is rare for V, and not seen in many other places apart from Astro. Your game show is okay. Your art is okay. Just okay. I've seen better. Same could be said for your game show. V is quick to come with a rebuttal, and presumably because her game show was insulted, which is her pride, joy, and what she built her entire personality on. Anyways, dislike tier. Don't think I need to explain. Come here.
Yeah, GG.
I'm number one distractor, bro. I'm number one
How did you?
I'm number one distractor.
How did you like juke Toodles like that?
I'm number one distractor, bro. I'm number one. Watch this shit. No, I love Cole so much though. She doesn't have an interaction either. Do you think I'd be able to haunt your screen? Don't try it. Ooh, I just might. I'll tell Brightney. Never mind. Another quick rebuttal. And also this interaction just reinforces her friendship with Brightney. Zzz, bzz. Sounds like someone's a little out of tune. It was just for a moment. Pretty sure you make that noise a couple of times throughout the week. Wait, are you counting the times? Nah, I just take notice of things. Many things. I'm a good observer. Here, V is obviously glitching, and when Connie points it out, V's first instinct is to downplay it, and trying to sweep it under the rug. And when Connie reinforces that it's happened multiple times, V seems obviously very surprised, and I'm getting a hint of anger about how V's flaws are being pointed out. V prides herself on being just good at things, and when flaws show, she doesn't like it. Anyways, slight dislike tier. V, are you alright? You're checking in on me. I mean, I'm fine, honestly. That's good to know. I was told you haven't been doing the best. Huh, what? Who said that? Well, never mind. I know who. Sprout can ask me himself next time. Cosmo reaching out to V is a huge surprise for her. She seems not to know how to genuinely talk about how she's actually doing to Cosmo, and just says she's fine. Either that or V just says that because she needed to say something to get Cosmo off her case. Anyways, here we also see V's habit of wanting to know things. She immediately asks who told Cosmo to ask her about how she's doing, and we see this in a few other interactions as well. It just shows first here. Neutral tier. Don't think she has any strong opinions on him. V used to think she could become more popular than me. You know, back when we still had the show still running. Ha ha ha. Isn't that funny? Here we can see that V and Dandy definitely have a rivalry, presumably over popularity, reinforced by Sprout's interaction, where we can see V seeking out actively to argue with Dandy, and in a machine dialogue where she talks about doing something that Dandy couldn't do. Rivalry tier. Self-explanatory. You know, I was never one for V's game show. And I'm not just saying that based on all the riveting stories Dandicus tells me about her. He definitely does not enjoy her company. Reinforces that rivalry with Dandy, but V's game show isn't that well liked by Dyle. Anyways, don't think they have any strong emotions on each other. Neutral tier. V does not fuck with the holiday tunes. Fair is fair. Heahea V. 5 feet apart from me, Finn. Why? Is it because I smell fishy? No, because I'd rather not short circuit and need repairs. Ha, whoopsie, almost forgot. Another blunt response. And quick. Anyways, slight dislike, only because it's presumably been a problem in the past, and V is bound to be annoyed about it by now. Flutter, I know you write about me in your diary. Don't act like you don't. Gigi was laughing about it with you in your room. I overheard her from the hallway. She has such a specific laugh. V is again shown to wanting to be in the know. She demands to actually know if Flutter writes about her in her diary, and when Flutter acts confused about it, V, presumably not wanting to sound like an idiot, doubles down, and this second line seems like she's a little panicked Flutter doesn't know immediately what she's talking about. She does not like to be seen as making mistakes. Neutral tier, no opinions. I think I'm sensing a pattern with who V doesn't really have interactions with. GG, you're not planning to keep all those items to yourself, right? Maybe. GG, don't just take everything for yourself. Ooh, no promises. GG. Nothing here. V, do you need, like, all your circuitry? I don't like where this is going. Did you or did you not need that all? I need all my circuitry, yes. Okay, sure, yeah. GG, stop thinking about it. Yet another example of V being blunt. GG goes in slight dislike. V seems annoyed at her, but not to the point of outright hating her. You know, sometimes I binge your game show episodes. Huh? Seriously? Just the game show segments in the seasons? So much variety. So many outcomes with the contestants. Glad to know you holiday tunes have things to keep you busy all year long. Right. V's game show is very popular, and in an attempt to be, sympathetic, she says that she's glad they have something to entertain them while they're locked away in the cellar. Ginger is obviously a little put off by this, but it was obviously unintentional. Neutral tier. You know, you couldn't even make a good game show even if you tried. Goodness, V. Ouchie, owie, ow. Fighting words are out here right now. Yes, if fighting was just the truth. You're right, I wouldn't be so good. I'd be better. I'd be perfect, actually. Sure, if you keep dreaming so much, you should talk with Astro. Glisten obviously has a lighthearted rivalry with V, and considering how we have established V is not entirely sure how to show that she cares for other people, I think this conversation with Glisten is just V in her social comfort zone. V, hello, oh bestest closest friend of mine whom I care for deeply. What is it now? Oh, you're no fun. Well, go on. I broke my microphone. I need a spare. Just meet me after this. From this, I think we can gather that they're friends. Just a friendly back and forth is what these arguments mostly are. However, once again, V is showing care through practical acts of kindness rather than emotional ones, by just offering to give Glisten a new microphone. Anyways, best friend tier. I love their banter. Goob, why did you never sign up for my hosted trivia? I just wanted to cheer on my big sister. Yeah, but wouldn't you want to prove you're smarter than her lucky guesses? I don't need to prove that sort of thing to anyone. Well, if that's what you've decided, can't say I agree. I hope you'll be able to understand someday then. This one's a big hitter. both here and her lore video, where she is shown to be insecure about being replaced by a potential V2, which is probably a root of her insecurities. So she has this drive to want to prove herself, as to be like, hey, I actually am better and you don't need to replace me. Which is why she's generally surprised that Goop doesn't share that same sentiment. V, what's it like knowing so much? Glad you asked. The knowledge and information I have recorded helps me in my day-to-day. Oh, yeah, it probably would. Yep, I know all that I would need to know. Do you even know how to give the best hugs? I said everything I would need to know, Goob. V is yet again willing to take advantage of her technology, noting how she knows a crap ton. I'm gonna put Goob in like tier, because he is able to open V up by just being a silly guy, and I think V doesn't know that she appreciates it. Still doing those circus acts? Yep. You wanna come see one? No. I'm a bit too busy. Maybe another time. V wants to prove she's, quote, better by being more popular than others, because she definitely does derive her self-worth from that. This is meant to refer to Dandy's rivalry, where V and Dandy try to be more popular than each other, and this is just an extension of that. The circus is presumably a performance, like V's game show, and V could take this as another challenge to her game show's popularity, which can not only render it as not important, but invalidate V herself, and therefore escalating her insecurities. Slight dislike. Pebble? Woof. No, really. Arf. Tell me about that later. That's actually so interesting. Sarcastic V, you'll have to see it. Arf. Pebble? Ugh, I don't have time. Fine, I'll play fetch with you later. Happy? Woof. Nothing much here. Like tier. You can hate a dog. Hey Poppy, you are a lucky winner today. Yippee! What do I win? A brand new car. Oh my goodness, really? No, Poppy, does it look like we can have a car here? Oh yeah, I don't even know how to drive. Another nothing burger. Just V screwing with Poppy. Neutral tier. You know, Razzle, you don't need to keep sending me letters. I don't? I've been telling him this. Right, you could just come talk to me? Really? Oh, V, are you sure about that? Yeah, just swing by my room and knock, of course. For sure. Yes, ma'am. We'll visit a reasonable amount. Not a here. V is looked up to by R&D, I guess. Neutral tier. Roger, do me a favor. That's dependent on what you plan to ask of me. Stop trying to ask Astro questions. Will you? I can't promise such. A practical act of kindness for Astro. And insistent. V, your knowledge could be very useful for... I won't become your tool, Roger. That's not what I'm asking of you. Sounds like it is. I'm much more than my technology. Apologies if you feel I was implying otherwise. Sure, Roger. Sure. V doesn't want to be seen as just her technology, or as she states here, a tool. This is also consistent with what she says in her CRT footage with her handler, where she again says she is more than just her code. V is also not quick to forgive, it seems. Anyways, slight dislike here. Definitely finds Roger annoying, but not outright hating him. This is sad. If it isn't Scraps, one of the luckiest tunes here. I don't know if I'd call myself lucky, but thanks. That's great. Now answer me this winning question. Go on. Who was the contestant who won all my prizes every time from lucky guesses? Me? Yeah. Self-explanatory. V is upset when her structure is undermined or disrupted because Scraps is so lucky and just consistently guesses right answer after right answer. V is unable to outwit it and doesn't like it. Hey V, you're not mad at me for winning all your game show prizes, right? V? I'm gonna take that as a yes. Truth be told, I don't know why V isn't talking here. Maybe it's the confrontation, but I'm not sure. Anyways, slight dislike. V is yet again annoyed, but nothing past that. So, are you busy after this? Huh? Oh, you're asking me. Yes, I'm talking to you. Nope, not busy at all. What do you need? Just help moving around supplies. Oh, right. Of course. Here, it seems like V wants to be Shelly's friend. However, as we've established, V only is comfortable connecting on a surface level, and this is in line with that. She offers to hang out by, quote, moving supplies, which is in line with how she is comfortable doing only really practical acts of kindness towards people. Want to hear some dinosaur facts? I know them all. What? They're programmed in already, Shelly. I know them all. Ah, right. Silly me. V is yet again taking advantage of being tech, and I read this second line from her as her trying to be impressive, while unintentionally making Shelly feel insignificant. Liked here. Not best buds yet, but V definitely enjoys her company. V! I hate television. You done? I hate not having the last word. Nothing. Disliked here. Just Shrimpo being Shrimpo. Hey, Berry boy. You're still calling me that? You're Berry. You're a boy. Alright, outdated tech. Sheesh. Sorry, that one was probably a bit far. This is another callback to V not wanting to seem insignificant, and reinstating her fears about being replaced by a version 2. Seems like other toons also know about this for some reason. You still arguing with Dandy? I try to, but he just walks away when I approach most of the time. Yeah, that sounds about right. He does the same to me. Yeah, but he'll talk with... V? I know. Whatever. We'll chat more on it later if you want. Here we can see V's rivalry with Dandy show up, and she seems to be actively seeking it out. Anyways, liked here. Sprout and V seem to be chill talking to each other. V, you could try to be a tad kinder. Kinder? You're acting like I'm rude or something. Well, sometimes you come off a bit... how do I put it? A bit harsh? I don't think so. We can see here that V doesn't intend to come off rude most times, and it's just a byproduct of habit. Tegan. V. I'm trying to start conversation, but honestly, I don't care about tea. I could assume why. Does that mean you dislike me? No, of course not. You're a whole toon, not just some regular teacup. There's actually a lot to say here. V hates being reduced to just her technology, as seen by Roger. V doesn't wish that on anybody, like how she says Tegan is more than just, quote, the tea person. Liked here. Not close friends, but I see them as buddies. Tisha, any reason you're not talking with me? I have my reasons, V. Wow, so descriptive. I just think you don't appreciate certain things here in Garden View. Still not very descriptive. Ugh, forget it. V's wanting to be in the know is illustrated once more. V. Tisha. Humph. Bust out the popcorn, they got beef, everybody. Anyways, I'm putting Tisha in rivalry tier. V doesn't like her, and she doesn't like V. Can you swim? What is Roger even teaching you? Well, can you? No, Toodles, I cannot swim. Nothing here. Neutral tier, I guess. Hey, Pinata. Still creeping around the place? It's Yada. Right. Doesn't answer the question. It's not creeping. You're jealous I can be so flexible in my movement. So, you're still sneaking in the vents with your free time? That's just how I get around. I'm busy with acrobats, my troupe, and parties. Oh god, I read that like a robot. V presses her for information yet again here. However, apparently dislikes how much Yada creeps around everywhere. Slightly disliked here. And that's everyone. However, we still aren't done. There are a few more pieces of V content in-game I would like to take a look at first. Like her Twisted. Twisted V is particularly interesting for a character because it kind of emphasizes the worst of V and brings it center stage. For example, there's this entire look at me motif that keeps popping up, both in her actual face as a Twisted and in one of her pop-ups, which is most likely a desperate plea for validation, just emphasized because, well, she's Twisted. There's also this other pop-up where it's an advertisement for a Dandy plush, but covered instead with a V face. This really emphasizes her rivalry with Dandy once again. V also has a few other things I want to touch on. For example, this smile poster. It's posted in a lot of places around Garden View, but I feel like everything we've talked about, it can carry a subtle but double meaning. We've talked about how V masks as confident and put together in order to hide her insecurities, which this poster explicitly calls for the staff to do. Okay, we're actually done this time. That is all the content about V I wanted to cover. But now that we actually have done it, and I mean, we've covered literally everything that is relevant to her character, what can we take away? Who is V, really? V, at first just seems like a sarcastic and confident game show host, is more than that. She is flawed, and has real insecurities that give her immense depth. She takes pride in her game show and takes advantage of being a piece of tech. terrified of being replaced, scared of seeming irrelevant, and constantly masks while with others in order to get validation to prove her own self-worth. Which is also why she measures herself by comparing herself to Danny's popularity and deflects any acts of kindness that make her feel vulnerable. Her few close relationships also help to clarify these points. She expresses care through practical acts rather than emotional ones, veiling any emotional connection with Brightney, for example, as she is just, quote, her best contestant, or offering to protect Astro in case he's in danger. But with tunes like Goob or Tegan, we can begin to see cracks in the mask, and her view actually gets challenged. A will to prove oneself better than others? Meaningless. Attempts to seem confident and put together? They come off as mean. This gets echoed in her other content as well. The smile poster and her Twisted both reflect her desperate attempt to appear perfect and confident, while she hides her own insecurities underneath. And that's what makes V so compelling for me. She's a real person with struggles that are very real to me, but most likely many others as well. Her balancing act is one of the most interesting inner dynamics I've seen included in any piece of media for a hot minute. And which is why, in 80 years, when I'm dying in that hospital bed, I can rest easy, knowing I did her character justice.